Americans are justifiably shell-shocked by the endless litany of outrages perpetrated against ordinary folks, even as some of the vilest criminals ever spawned walk the streets not only free, but with their pockets stuffed full of undeserved bonuses. Federal prosecutors love to make an example of people like Aaron Swartz, who basically downloaded too many documents at once, then subsequently took his own life after 2 years of relentless harassment by the Boston office of the U.S. Attorney Carmen Ortiz. But swine, that one's mine actually. I think that one's yours there.
Darn, that's on yours now.
Anyway, well, it's only a cold sore, don't worry. Where was I? But swine who launder money from Mexican drug cartels, as HSBC did for years, fear no retribution because, as Deputy Attorney General Lanny Breuer implied in his sophomoric rationalization for not trying anyone connected with these brazen crimes, we don't want to upset the banking industry, now do we? These evil pigs don't even make a pretense of claiming innocence anymore. They don't need to. They own damn near every politician in Washington. Isn't that right, Mr. Geithner? No, they just flip us the bird and walk away laughing. So it's almost impossible to know where to begin when faced with the question, how in hell did this start? How did it get this bad? Well, humanity's bottomless capacity for malice and mendacity stretches back to, well, the beginning of humanity. But it is exemplified by the Latin phrase, caveat emptor, or let the buyer beware. To this very day, the lower life forms that infest the darkest corners of the business world spew that glib rationalization as a justification for their thievery. But the person who distilled the poison inherent in that ruthless worldview down to the most venomous essence was none other than Elisa Rosenbaum, a textbook psychopath who expressed her admiration for a serial killer who dismembered a 12-year-old girl because he was not constrained by the strictures of society. She also amused herself by toying with the lives of her sycophantic followers. She told one fellow that he would be banished from the fold if he didn't sleep with her. Then she ratted him out to his wife, just to see what would happen. She was a third-rate hack novelist who wrote 2 absurdly long books, well, actually, 1 book, twice, that glorified unrestrained greed and avarice. She might never have gained any recognition were it not for the novelty of her nationality. She was a Russian writing in praise of the vilest extremes of capitalism at the height of the Cold War. Republicans loved her. You might know her better as Ayn Rand. Virtually every Republican office today genuflects at the very mention of her name. Even though she was an avowed atheist, she was revered by the uber-Christian neocons as the patron saint of pathological selfishness, which, as we all know, is the cornerstone of conservative philosophy, such as it is. So, we have soulless, holier-than-thou politicians, each with the moral compass of a snake, backed by an endless stream of money fleeced from the American public by people like the Koch brothers and Sheldon Adelson, aided and abetted by captive media outlets, but by no means limited to Fox News, and a seething horde of religious zealots all bent on exploiting the inchoate resentment of the semi-literate morons in the Tea Party, who know they're getting screwed, but they don't know who's really screwing them. What's not to be scared shitless of? The game is rigged from the get-go. It is rare that anyone with a shred of human decency is ever allowed to get into office. Rare, but not impossible. Vermont's congressional delegation are pretty straight shooters, and if the shadowy minions of evil don't threaten the lives of her children, we might expect great things from Elizabeth Warren. I thought our president was one of the good guys, but that ship has not only sailed, it's sunk. But none of them will do a damn thing to disturb the status quo if we don't constantly hold their feet to the fire by letting them know that we know what the real issues are, and we will make damn sure they do what's right, or they'll pay the price by being voted out of office. This is still ostensibly a representative democracy, but representative does not mean we can abdicate our responsibility to participate in it. Bad people want you to believe that there's nothing you can do will make any difference. So be a good little cipher and go back to watching reruns of Real Housewives. But it's not true. You can make a difference, and a big one. Big Brother might be watching, but we're watching back. And when it comes right down to it, boys and girls, there are more of us than there are of them. It'll be a long, hard battle, but it's one we must fight. Either that, or when our children inherit a Randian hellscape of squalor and hopeless misery, we better have a very good excuse when they ask, why didn't you do something to stop this when you had the chance?